Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Today we're talking about New Year's resolutions to live healthier. Turns out, in many cases, our everyday choices determine our overall health. In fact, health experts estimate that 80% of all illness is caused by lifestyle choices, things we choose to do or not do. My guest is Mark Sherwood, a naturopathic doctor and author of The Quest for Wellness, Fork Your Diet, and Surviving the Garden of Eden. He's a motivational speaker who teaches wellness courses to churches, corporations, and law enforcement. Welcome, Dr. Sherwood. Thanks for being here. Great to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Lori. Great to see you too. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
So you were a bodybuilding champion, a professional baseball player, and a former police officer on the SWAT team, as well as being a devout Christian. How did you become so passionate about health?
Well, it's an interesting question you ask because ultimately, in all those areas, you're seeing, especially in the police work, you're seeing the worst and the best of mankind. And so I watched my colleagues and friends, get into the ranks of police officer, and they would be very healthy. And then I watched them slowly deteriorate over time. So I observed what life, stress, and all the things that we talk about that are lifestyle choices did to those men and women. And eventually that led me down this sort of pathway or quest to determine what I could do to help out them. And then that led to see what I could do to help out mankind, just to be better, live better, and have this I would say an improved health span as opposed to just an improved lifespan.
You and your wife, Michelle, founded the Functional Medical Institute in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A lot of people have heard the term functional medicine, but aren't too clear about what makes it different from traditional medicine here in the U.S. Can you explain it?
Yeah, just first of all, to understand traditional medicine is more of the symptomatology approach, where you come into the doctor's office and you have these symptoms, and you look at the symptoms, you try to stop the symptom with pharmaceutical intervention. Now, our approach is a little bit different. Even functional medicine can kind of be a little misleading. I prefer to look at it as maybe the concept of upstream healing. It's more of a cause-effect relationship. So if you look down here at the disease process and you have these symptoms that line up with diseases, what if you went upstream and determined what was the causes of the symptoms that led to disease, and you stopped the cause, the upstream cause of those symptoms? At that point, there's really no need to talk about being sort of this symptomatologist or this sort of investigator to determine diseases. We need to go back upstream. So by doing that, we remediate or eliminate those symptoms. People get better, and diseases are certainly lessened, which is our goal.
So why do you prefer functional medicine? Why is functional medicine so important?
Well, people need to understand that, these diseases we're having today in our world, not just in the United States, but around the world, the typical common diseases such as heart disease, cancers, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune, and even some of the Alzheimer's dementia diseases, these things are highly preventable with lifestyle. In other words, the cause of these diseases is mainly the lifestyle things that we have. Typically lifestyle can be encapsulated, Lori, with the idea of, what we eat, what we do, how we sleep, and how we handle life. And if we just would manage those things appropriately and take a fresh perspective, we would get better. And even in today's world, no one's really talking about this idea of prevention of diseases. We're talking about disease processes. And frankly, I'm tired of hearing about disease processes. I want to talk about how to fix them, how to avoid them, and how to correct them altogether, because I think that's the approach we should all be strongly considering and taking, quite frankly.
Absolutely. Well, you are a naturopathic doctor. That's also a term folks have likely heard but don't quite understand. Can you talk about your training to become a naturopathic doctor?
Yeah, naturopathic doctor, the philosophy is more around, all diseases begin in the gut. So we're talking about this nutritional intervention, this nutritional interaction with health as it may be. So the naturopathic philosophy is to give the body what it needs so the body can do what it can. I want to say that one more time, to give the body what it needs so that it can do what it can. The body is fearfully and wonderfully made. It's the only creation that, God made in his own image. So that tells me there's perfection in mind. So the immune system, the endocrine system, the neurological system, the musculoskeletal system, the enteric system, these are all wonderfully made, and they will do an amazing job if we just give them what they need. So naturopaths are trained in how to do that, and all these genetic interactions as well. Now, we do have the benefit, being where I am, working with my wife, Dr. Michelle, I have the benefit of understanding pharmaceutical training as well. So we like to take the best of both worlds because they're not bad having acute care. We need that if we have a broken arm or a car wreck. But we need to talk about this naturopathic philosophy and bring it into more mainstream. We believe that's primary care. We believe the alternative care is medication.
This time of year, people make their New Year's resolutions, and some of the most common ones are to lose weight and get healthy. Experts tell us that the first step to successfully sticking to a New Year's resolution is to be specific, not vague. So can you offer some advice about how to get specific when it comes to losing weight and getting healthy?
Yeah, a couple things. Start your new year today. Every time you wake up and the calendar switches over, that's regardless of that, every time you wake up in the morning, that's a new day of a new year. So start your New Year's resolutions right now. Couple little simple tips that we can do. You got to set those goals clear and specific, and also very key, failure proof. If you want to set goals over time that are long term, great. But short term goals might be something like this. I'm going to walk 10 minutes every day. I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. every day. I'm going to go to sleep at 10 p.m. every day. I'm going to have one salad with one piece of perhaps fish or good quality protein on it. One of those things per day. And these things are basic small goals to start to get into our system, bigger goals over the course of time. Part of the problem we have with goal setting, even as we get into the new year, is, people have failed. That's why they want the resolution, the new year to come in. And we need to not fail so much. We need to practice good habits that I just laid out for you and build upon those like a foundation. So the more successful times you have with reaching goals, the more that it becomes normal that you are a person who attains those goals. So reaching the goals becomes a habit. And the more habit you have that's good, the more you want to repeat.
Obviously, so many people are concerned about COVID-19 right now, not to mention the fact that we have cold and flu season to deal with. What's your advice about avoiding these viruses, or if we do become infected, what's the best way to recover from them?
Well, there's a couple things to consider. One thing, you can't avoid viruses. Viruses have been around since before mankind. They'll be around after mankind. Viruses tend to mutate and change every year. Hence, as we have experiential knowledge of the influenza vaccine, it's changed every year to be a best guess of what strain we may face. With that said, it's not about avoiding viruses. It's learning to live with them, knowing that it's not if we'll be exposed or if we'll be affected, we will be. So what is our course of action? It is to optimize function of the immune system. And to optimize function of the immune system, we have to understand how that operates in the basic sense. It operates from, like all systems do, a pool of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids that are in our tissues, in our bodies, in our cells, so that the body can grab from those buckets, if you will, of nutrients to drive these systems in an effective manner. The immune system, for example, if we don't have enough nutrition to grab from, it will be ineffective. And Lori, most of us have a tolerance level of our immune resiliency that gets drained out as we get later in life. And that's why specifically, the COVID-19 phenomena has affected the older people, the more immune compromised, than the young people or the athletes. So our job is to fill up the bucket of our immune resiliency capacity by simply doing those basic things about putting good foods in our body, avoiding the things that pull our nutrition down, those anti-foods, I call them, like fried foods, processed foods, breads and grains, corn, soy, sodas, things of that nature, and then moving more, sitting less, and getting good sleep.
This is great stuff. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Dr. Mark Sherwood will explain the 4 fundamentals of good health. Stay with us.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to cbnnewschannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Dr. Mark Sherwood. In your books, Quest for Wellness, Surviving the Garden of Eden, and Fork Your Diet, you point out the 4 fundamentals of good health. What are they?
Yeah, the 4 fundamentals are 4 areas, specifically the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and the spiritual. It's extremely important to every day get up and proactively and intentionally do something, Lori, to manifest benefit in those areas. By neglecting any of those 4 areas, we find ourselves with increasing deficiencies in other areas. So, for example, very quickly, something we can do from a spiritual capacity is maybe we can get quiet, spend some time in the Word, praying, etc. Physical capacity, perhaps we can take a walk, have a good salad, as I talked about earlier. Emotional capacity, work on deep breathing, get some quiet time, get outside, see the sunshine, think about the good things, tell somebody how much you love them. And from an intellectual capacity, this is very key. Be willing to learn something new and be willing to unlearn something old. And many times we get stuck in ways we don't challenge ourselves from an intellectual standpoint, and we get very rigid in our thinking as opposed to the beneficial neuroplasticity.
Well, you are all about getting to the root of a health problem, and so often the root cause is inflammation. Can you tell us what inflammation is, and more importantly, how we can reduce it?
So inflammation, if you look at it from a beneficial standpoint, it's necessary for life. Without improper inflammatory response, we would die simply from a cut on the finger. When inflammation becomes a problem, it's when it gets upregulated. It's much like a fire department that's been called to the scene of a big fire. They deal with the fire, they put out the fire, they bring everything back to the house to clean up the truck to go out to the next fire. But what if that fire department was called to continual blazes, infernos all around town? They would never come back, never clean the truck. The personnel would never get a rest. That's the difference between good immune function, good inflammatory function, along with compared to chronic, systemic, upregulated inflammatory response. All disease processes, every one of them, have as a base or a part and parcel chronic systemic inflammation. So if we could resolve that chronic systemic inflammation through the things we talked about, as well as maintaining balance in our system. And a lot of things we can do for that. Of course, one thing we can do is understand what I just talked about, but resolve the inflammation by taking a good amount of omega-3 fatty acids. I'm a big proponent of that because 100% of the people that I've tested, of the thousands all over this country and world, have been deficient in omega-3s. Omega-3s are a powerful modulator or regulator of the immune system. And I do recommend people get 3 to 4 grams of omega-3s on a daily basis to help out in that area, along with all the other things I've talked about.
So, for example, when you go to the store and you look at all the many different kinds of omega-3, the fish oil, you can turn the label around and it'll say on there DHA and EFA, right? So
DHA and EPA.
Okay.
And there's a trap. Watch out for this one, because many times they'll say the serving will be 2 gel caps, 1,000 grams, which is, or 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram. It'll say 300 EPA, 200 DHA. That leaves 500 unaccounted for. You want that full 1,000 in the example I gave you to be the majority of that EPA and DHA.
So it's very important to get that right. What is your website? Let's put that out there now. We'll come back to it later as well, because I'm sure people are hearing this and aren't quite getting it, and they need to see it again. What is your website so people can get that formula?
Sure. Our website is F as in functional, M as in medical, I as in institute, and then DR as in doctor.com. FMIDR.com.
So you definitely say to get that inflammation down, an anti-inflammatory diet requires the fish oil, the omega-3 fatty acids. What are some things that cause our inflammation to go up, and can we feel when we're inflamed on the inside?
That's an interesting phenomenon, because I was doing some research lately, and we know that gluten and grains and the gliadin proteins within our wheat crop, those are inflammatory in their current composition and structure and manufacturing processes. It is said that only 1 of 8 persons actually feel that. But inside of us, it is raging an inferno. So the things that drive inflammation predominantly are as follows. And I hope everybody can take a list here. It's going to be obviously processed foods, sodas, sugars, but then you get in this area of fried foods, you get in the area of wheat, bread, grains, soy, corn, dairy. Those all need to be avoided, because predominantly all of those are going to be both inflammatory and potentially estrogenic. We need to not avoid sleeping. Sleeping is sort of underappreciated. Undersleep or underrested or overfatigued, however you want to frame that, will contribute to inflammation because we won't recover as well. Underexercise and overexercise can also create inflammation. And finally, the last component is stress. We need to learn how to relax, turn on things. If we're going to feed our minds with television, media, and whatever, select carefully what we put in, because if we put the wrong things in, it's like filling an empty hollow bucket at the top with a drain on it. That thing is full of something. If we don't actually put in something good, I promise you the world will put in something that's negative, and it will feed down or funnel down into our brain, into our body, and it becomes this internal pharmacy that elicits chemical induction in all different areas, controlling our stress response.
This is great stuff. We're going to take another quick break and be right back with Dr. Mark Sherwood. Stay with us.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN News Watch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No super falls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
We're back with Dr. Mark Sherwood. So what about stress? We hear it's bad for our health, but how do we know whether we are stressed out? And more importantly, how do we de-stress when so much is going wrong these days?
So this is very important. Stress is not the covert killer, it's the overt killer. The real test to determine if you're stressed out is simply this, and it sounds simple, but it's not. See if you can sit down in a place and not say a word, not talk to anyone, not look at your phone, just listen and sit still for 5 minutes. No movement, no kids, no dogs, no husbands, no wife, no TV, no phone, and just sit there. If the very thought of that stresses you out, you're stressed out. And so the remedy to determine, that is what I stated. But to get out of that, you have to sort of force a parasympathetic or a relaxation response. And the best way to do that is to sit down, again, get quiet, target 1 minute, and do diaphragmatic breathing. So you'll place your hand on your abdomen. And when you inhale, the belly comes out, the upper body doesn't move. And when you exhale, the belly relaxes, the upper body doesn't move. Inhale, the belly comes out. Exhale, the belly goes down. You can do that lying on your back, putting a book and working the book, the weight of the book, up and down. That will force the blood pressure to go down, the heart rate to go down, your pulse rate to go down, and your relaxation to go up. And I do that every night because I have a lot on my mind, and that helps me slow down and give it usually a minute, and I'm asleep.
That is great information, and it's nice to know that we don't have to quit our jobs or change our lifestyles to de-stress.
No, we don't have to do that. Look, people have to live, and the best way to learn how to live is to learn how to not die through life and instead live through life. And as we talked about at the beginning of the segment, we want to increase what's called our health span. Not just look at lifespan, increase health span and decrease what we call sick span. And just these basic tools like this from a lifestyle approach, with 1,000% certainty, Lori, they will make a tremendous impact. Don't underestimate the power of these basic foundational truths.
I love that optimism. We're going to take one last break and be right back with Dr. Mark Sherwood. Stay tuned.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Dr. Mark Sherwood, it's been great talking to you. Tell folks where they can find out more about you.
Absolutely. So they can connect with us on our website. Again, that's fmidr.com. And there's all sorts of links there for free downloads, videos, blogs that are all free. Connect with us on social media through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We are here to put information out to give people freedom to live a healthy and optimum life.
And you are a motivational speaker, and you often speak to large groups during this COVID crisis. How are you managing that?
A lot of Zoom and a lot of Skype. A couple of times the groups have been small and controlled where they're spaced out. But look, it's all about keeping this going. We need each other. We need to be motivated. And the best way I know how to do that is to keep encouraging one another that, look, life is going to be challenging, but that's the very thing that can make you stronger.
And you are in practice with your wife at the Functional Medicine, and she's a medical doctor, correct?
She is. She's an osteopathic doctor. So together, she's my best buddy, my best friend, my queen, my pal. You know, we create an environment that is very inviting, and we serve both sides of the equation to create this optimum person that goes out there and becomes a hope dealer. That's kind of what we are. We want to create this this pandemic, if you will, of hope dealing.
I love it. Well, thank you, Dr. Sherwood, for being our guest on Healthy Living. You shared so much great information with us. Thank you for your time and your amazing work. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Once again, the books are Fork Your Diet, Quest for Wellness, Surviving the Garden of Eden. Good stuff. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Healthy Living. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Lori Johnson. Hope to see you again next time.